thanks for joining. I'm Holly Compton, a doctor of physical therapy and a yoga instructor. Today's video is all about healthy feet and ankles. So feet and ankles are really complicated parts of your body. They have tons of muscles, bones, tendons that all have to work together to be the foundation of your entire body. So today we're going to focus on hips, knees, ankles, foot muscles, even your low back and your sciatic nerve, because they all work together to keep your foot in a good alignment when you're walking, jogging, running, jumping, doing yoga, all that fun stuff. So grab a mat and let's get started. So we're going to start lying on our backs first today. And the first thing we're going to do is a sciatic nerve glide. So your sciatic nerve starts in your lower back, exits your spine, runs down the back of your hips, down the backs of your legs, through your calf, and wraps around underneath your foot. So actually, heel pain and ankle pain can be one of the first signs of a problem with your sciatic nerve. So we're going to start with the sciatic nerve and just do a little flossing exercise. So you're going to bring your right foot up into this tabletop 90-90 position and grab your thigh with both of your hands. So once you do that, you're going to flex your foot. So pull that foot back towards you, and then you're going to start straightening your knee. So keeping your foot flexed, straighten that knee until you feel a pull either in your calf, your foot, or your low back. If you're going to get all the way into a full hamstring stretch without feeling any kind of pain or tension in your leg or back, that's great. You can just hold it here in a stretch. So if along the way you get to a point and you feel any pain in your foot, tingling, numbness, or even a pull in your back, you're going to pause right there and then actually bend your knee just slightly, maybe like an inch. Hold it there, and then you're going to do ankle pumps, so moving your foot up and down. So moving your foot up and down just causes your sciatic nerve to glide through the little sheath that it lives in, just to make sure that the mobility is where you need it to be. So we're going to be here about 3 more breaths, so this is a great time to check in with your breath. A big part of yoga is breathing. So inhaling and exhaling with the movement. All right, we're going to lower that foot back to the floor and work on the other side. So bring it up to this 90-90 position, flex your toe, and then start straightening that knee. So again, straighten it until you're kind of in this fuller hamstring stretch, if you can make it there. Or if you start to straighten and you feel pain in your ankle or your back or your foot, then you're going to stop right at that point, lower down just a little bit, and then start performing these ankle pumps again. So if you have some sciatic nerve involvement, you may get some tingling or numbness or some pain in your foot, because when we do a hamstring stretch, we're actually putting tension on our hamstring, or on our sciatic nerve. So reconnect with your breathing. We're going to be here 1 more breath. And bring that foot back down to the floor. Let's switch sides, again in this tabletop position, and then wrap your hands around. And now we're going to start drawing circles with our ankle. So you're going to draw a few circles one direction. And then switch to the opposite direction. So we want to stay out of any pain. So if you do feel some pain one certain direction, just don't go quite as far that way. And if you can only do very small movements at first, that's okay. All right, now we're going to flex our foot. Keep it in this position, but rotate it side to side. Making sure we have good mobility in every plane of motion. And switch sides. So on this side, we're going to start with those circles. So start going in one direction, as big as circles as you can without pain. So no pain allowed, especially if you have a painful foot or ankle. If you really try to push through the pain, then you're just going to make it more sore than anything else. So we don't want to push through the pain right now. We just want a nice gentle stretch. and then reverse directions. Very good. Now we're going to flex the foot, pull it back towards you, and then again, we're going to rock that foot side to side. So toe moves toward the outside of your body, and then toes move toward the inside of your body. We're going to be here for 2 breaths. And drop that foot down to the floor. So you can release your hands to the side of your body. Kind of wiggle around if you need to adjust so you're in a comfy position, and place your feet flat on the floor. So from here, we're going to squeeze our toes so that it feels like we're trying to pick up the floor with our toes. So squeeze the floor. You might even feel your arch lifting a little bit as you squeeze. And notice that I'm not picking my foot up like this. I'm really just keeping my foot flat on the floor and squeezing those muscles. So we're going to squeeze and hold for 2 breaths. So take a big inhale. On the exhale, grip the floor with your toes and hold it there as you breathe normally. And as you squeeze, you may even feel that your glute muscles activate a little bit, which just shows you how much of a role your glute muscles and your foot muscles are connected. So we're going to relax. Take an inhale. As you exhale, squeeze the floor with those toes again. And we'll be here 2 breaths. Exhale, release. Inhale. As you exhale, squeeze the floor one more time with those toes. And release. Very good. Shake it out a little bit if you want. If you start feeling like a little foot cramp or something through these, just take a moment to shake it out and then go back to the exercise. So we're going to place our feet back on the floor. And now we're going to work on those little muscles that live under your foot and help support your arch. So you're going to take an inhale. And on the exhale, you're going to squeeze your toes together. So like you're trying to squeeze them together. It's like you're trying to squeeze something between your toes. And then hold that for 2 breaths. Exhale, release. On the next inhale, squeeze. 2 breaths. Exhale, release. Now you're going to try to spread your toes apart. So keeping your foot flat again, you're just going to take an inhale, and then on the exhale, widen those toes as wide as you can get them, like you're spreading them apart, but keeping them flat on the floor. And hold 2 breaths. Exhale, release. Inhale, spread the toes apart. Exhale, release. Now we're going to combine those movements and combine them with breath. So we're going to inhale, spread our toes apart. Exhale, squeeze them together. So let's get started. Take an inhale, spread them apart. Exhale, squeeze the toes together. Inhale, spread the toes. Inhale, squeeze the toes together. Keep moving with your breath. So we're going to move at your own pace. Exhaling and inhaling, squeezing and spreading the toes apart. And we're going to be here for about 3 more breaths. Last one, exhale, release, shake out those feet a little bit. So you might be surprised that you actually feel some fatigue in those foot muscles. It seems really easy, right? But then you notice, hey, these muscles are working pretty hard, and that's a good thing. So from here, let's grab behind our thighs, and we're just gonna rock up into a seated position. So take some rocks, and then pop on up to sitting. So from here, we're actually going to sit on our knees. So if you have pain on your knees, feel free to grab a pillow or something nearby that you can just place right under your knees, and that will take a little bit of pressure off your knees. So in this seated position, we're actually going to tuck our toes under. So you're going to tuck your toes under and just start very gently, but you're going to just sit back on those feet so that you feel a little stretch on the inside of your feet. So as you feel a stretch and it feels pretty good, then you can start walking up to this squatting position to feel a big stretch right in those arches. So this is a stretch for the muscles under the bottom of your feet as well as your plantar fascia. So if you have plantar fasciitis or some irritation of the connective tissue that's under the bottom of your foot, you might feel some pain here. If you do, just lean forward a little bit onto your hands and just push back super gently. Or again, use that pillow and place it underneath your thighs, and that can take some pressure off too. So let's take a moment to reconnect with our breath, and we're gonna be here for about 3 breaths. And if you start feeling a little more open, then you can even shift your weight back if it's not already shifted back. Very good. Now let's place the hands down, and we're going to come into a tabletop position. So your wrists should be just underneath your shoulders, and your knees should be right underneath your hips. So you're going to suck your belly button in so that you can see that my pelvis just rocks slightly under, like you're tucking your tailbone under. And in this position, we're going to do some strengthening and mobility for our hips. So your hips play a huge role in stabilizing your feet, so it's important to keep them strong and mobile so that when you're walking, jogging, running, doing yoga, all those fun things, you'll have proper alignment in your feet. So from here, we're going to take an inhale, and as you inhale, keep your pelvis tucked under, keep your stomach muscles tight. Inhale, your knee's going to come up towards your elbow and then out to the side. So as you inhale, it's going to come in and up. Notice my pelvis is staying flat. And then exhale it back and around to this position. So in this position, my butt muscle is squeezing hard. My foot is pressing up toward the ceiling, and I'm getting some nice extension in my hips. So let's move through that with some breaths. So inhale, leg comes forward, pelvis is level. Inhale it around, and then exhale it up and back. Inhale, come forward. Exhale it, squeeze that butt muscle. And we're gonna do 2 more of these. Inhale, up and forward. Exhale it, really extend that thigh. Very good. 1 more time. And let's hold it right here. So we're gonna really strengthen that glute muscle by pressing our foot up toward the ceiling, but don't let your back arch. So keep that stomach muscles drawn in towards your belly button. And we're just gonna hold this foot here. And then we're gonna even take some pulses. So as you pulse, try to think about using your butt muscle to lift. So you should feel your butt muscle actively contracting to pull your foot up toward the ceiling. And we're just gonna pulse. Be sure to stay connected with your breath, inhaling and exhaling through your nose. And we're gonna be here for 3, 2, 1, drop it down. Very nice. And we're going to shift to the other side. So keeping your pelvis level, reconnect with those stomach muscles, tuck your pelvis under. And we're going to take an inhale, knee draws in and around. Exhale, foot comes back up. Very nice. So inhale, foot comes forward. Exhale it up. Squeeze that butt muscle. Very nice. 2 more times. Inhale. Exhale. 1 more, inhale, exhale it, and hold it here. So really connecting with that glute muscle on the right side. So you're gonna squeeze, push a little higher, but don't let your back arch. Keep that stomach muscle drawing in and lift that leg. Very nice. You should feel that butt muscle shaking a little right now if you're working hard. Very good, and now we're gonna take some pulses. So squeezing that butt muscle to lift every time you're feeling that butt muscle working hard. 3, 2, 1, and drop it down. So let's push it back into an active child pose. So knees come down to feet, hands reaching up while your head hangs heavy and touches down to the mat. So you want to make this super active. So your fingertips are pressing into the mat and reaching long as your tailbone is reaching long toward your feet. Reconnect with your breath. Breathe into those upper ribs. And your armpits should be actively pressing down, like you're trying to press your armpits toward the floor. And we'll be here for a couple breaths. All right, so from here, we're gonna come back up into this tabletop position. And now we're gonna tuck our toes under and press back into a down dog. So when you're ready, take an inhale. Exhale, lift the knees and press it back. So take some time to get a little loose here. So just kind of walk your feet out. You wanna make sure you have equal weight between your hands and your feet. And you want to draw those shoulder blades down your back just a bit while letting your head hang heavy through. So feel free to wiggle your hips back and forth or kind of move your shoulders in and out just to kind of warm up in this position. And then press those eyes on the front of your elbows. Press them toward the front of the room. So we're going to take an inhale, pop up onto the balls of your feet. Exhale, see if you can lower those heels toward the floor. So if you need to, if your hamstrings are a little tight, feel free to bend those knees. We're going to be here 3 breaths. So inhale, press up onto your toes, and next we're going to walk that foot toward the middle. Put a little bend in your knee and then press your heel down for a soleus stretch. So your soleus is the little muscle in the back of, like the underneath part of your calf. And that muscle gets stretched more when your knee is bent. So that knee should be slightly bent and just tuck that other leg back behind it. So next we're going to stretch our gastroc muscle. So for that, our knee needs to be straight. So I would suggest if your hamstrings are tight, just walking your hands out a little bit so that you can get that knee straight, press your heel toward the floor, and then place that hand behind. So feel free to stay in downward dog, but I'm just showing the modification of if your hamstring is tight, walking your hands out. It's not a true downward dog, but it is a true calf stretch, which is what we're going for here. And then we're gonna switch sides. So straighten out that other leg so that you're feeling a stretch in this back leg here. Pressing your heel toward the floor and staying connecting with your breathing. So if your weight's a little forward, let's push back into that more downward dog position, but everyone's knee's gonna be bent on this one. So we're gonna get that soleus muscle on the other side. So head still hanging heavy, other foot is tucked behind, heel toward the floor, but your knee should be bent. 2 breaths here. On the exhale, release down to the mat, push it back into child's pose. On the next inhale, we're going to push it up into a tabletop position. And then we're going to move through plank. So let's press our feet back. Feel free to stay on your knees if you need that modification. Otherwise, press up into plank. And we're going to work on a side plank. So walk your right hand in, rotate over, and we're going to come into a side plank. So there are modifications. Your feet can be one in front of the other. They can be stacked. Or you can even bring one foot in front. But you want to make sure that you're activating the side butt muscle. And then you can reach up toward the ceiling if you would like. So whatever modification you're in, let's hang out here for about 2 breaths. Gaze up toward the sky if you want. And then flip it right over to that other side. So other hand walks toward the center. Bring it over into your variation of side plank, whatever that may be. And we'll be here 2 more breaths. Release that hand back down to the mat, and let's push it back into child's pose. So let's rock forward, and we're just gonna bring our feet through all the way over onto our back, and we're gonna end with one last hamstring stretch. So what I want you to do is grab behind your right thigh in this tabletop position again, and then you're gonna straighten out until you start to feel a stretch in that hamstring. So once you feel a stretch, you're actually gonna push your leg like you're pushing down, but give it some resistance with your hands. So hands are here. I'm gonna inhale, press into my hands, and then exhale, melt that leg and try to pull it a little closer into your body. So inhale, resist, push against that hand. Exhale, melt it a little farther, and you might see that with that contract, relax technique, you get a little deeper into your stretch. So one more time, inhale, press it out. Exhale, pull it in towards your body a little more. Let's hold it here for about 3 breaths. Making sure, checking in with that down leg, making sure that it's pressing into the floor, getting some activity through both legs with both feet flexing. Exhale, release it down to the mat and switch sides. Hands behind your thigh, flexing your toes. Inhale, press that knee into your hand. Exhale, melt it a little farther back into you. Inhale, press against your knee. Inhale, bring it back one more time. Inhale, push your knee into your hands. Exhale, melt it back, and let's hold it here for 3 breaths, I'm sorry. Exhale, release it down to the mat. So let's get in a nice comfy lying position here. Wiggle those shoulder blades in. Let your feet just relax out to the side, palms facing up, and let's just take a moment to be thankful for all the good stuff that we just put into our body, all the strengthening and stretching that felt so nice. And then feel free to just relax here. Thank you guys so much for joining. Let me know if you have any questions about foot pain or heel pain that I can help you with. I love answering questions and helping everyone. So thanks for coming. Have a good day.